And this is the example of this world. A person is standing. Now, when he looks ahead of him, he sees a light, or he sees the sun. So now, let's say a person is facing towards the sun. So now, if I'm facing towards the sun, if I'm facing towards the sun, it's pretty obvious that my shadow will be behind me. My shadow will be behind me. Now here, two things need to be taken into consideration. The sun, we have to perceive that the sun is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the shadow is dunya. Now, if a person turns around, so now a person's back is facing towards the sun. A person's back, and I need everyone to just visualize this. I'm not able to explain it to you through gestures. Now, a person, his back is facing towards the sun. Now, it's pretty obvious if a person, his back is facing towards the sun, that means his shadow will be ahead of him, right? That means his shadow will be ahead of him. And the shadow, like I mentioned, is dunya. Now, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the question is, now this person, he walks for 2 miles, he walks for 50 kilometers, he walks for an entire day. Can he ever catch up to his shadow? Can he really grasp his shadow? Not. He can. Now this person, similarly, my dear respected brothers, in this today, people are trying their hardest to attain dunya. 20 years, 30 years, they're just trying their hardest to reach full satisfaction, to reach full contentment. But dunya is something, my dear respected brothers, the more a person goes closer to dunya, the further dunya runs away from him. And again, the closer a person gets to dunya, the dunya runs away from that person. Now, my dear respected brothers, now try understanding this. Now, if a person faces towards the sun, there are two things that are being done here. And a person walks towards the sun. Now, what's happening? Like I've said, the shadow is behind it, and that's his dunya. You're getting two benefits here. A, you're walking towards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "O my slave, if you walk towards me, I run onto you." So you are getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thereafter, what's happening? You don't have to worry about dunya. Your shadow that's behind you, dunya will follow you. So there are two benefits that we are getting here. A person who goes closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, the benefits, of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are numerous. On the other hand, dunya will follow him. He will not have to follow dunya. So this is my dear respected brothers and sisters. This is one, I hope everyone understood this. And this is something that we have to understand today, that this world has been created for us. We were not created for this world. We were created, وَأَنْتُمْ خُلِقْتُمْ لِلْآخِرَةِ. We were created for akhirah. Now, moving on to ayah number 25. Moving on to ayah number 25. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. This is ayah number 25. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. And this is, my dear respected brothers, this is what each and every single prophet said to their nation. That إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. That I am a clear warner. I am a clear warner. And they used وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Upon prophets, their job is to convey the message. And my dear respected brothers and sisters, this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said. This responsibility has been given to us. This responsibility has been given to us. The ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Now it is upon our shoulders to convey the message. It is upon us to call people towards good. It is upon us to call people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what did Nuh alayhi salam say to his nation? Allah ta'budu illallah. Do not worship anyone besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not worship anyone besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni akhafu alaykum adhab yawmin halim. I fear the punishment of the severe day. I fear a punishment that may befall you, a severe punishment. Now, my dear respected brothers, before I now go further into the story of Nuh alayhi salam, as we all know, after the flood had taken place, each and every single disbeliever was wiped from the face of this earth. As this was the dua of Nuh alayhi salam. This is the dua that he made. Now the question may arise that then if all the disbelievers were wiped, and all the idols were wiped, how did idolatry come into existence again? How did this idol worship come into existence again? So my dear respected brothers, just a little brief, just a little recap, and just to increase in our knowledge as well, my knowledge as well as your knowledge. What happened was after the flood, prophets had come again. Now at that moment, and people believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after that time. Now what would happen was these pious people, when they passed away, Shaitan came to them in the form of an old man, an old wise man. And he said to them, these people were so great. Firstly, this is what he did. He planted a seed. Because obviously these people were still Muslims at that time. These people still believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now obviously at that moment he thought it was not befitting for himself to just go directly and tell people to worship idols. This would not make sense. People will not listen to him. This is how smart Shaitan is. So when he first went to them, he started talking about them. He started talking about their greatness. Oh, that person, look at him, he was so good, he was so great, he had such good qualities. Thereafter, this person would remember him and he would cry and he would feel bad. He would say, yes, no, you're right, this person was truly great. But after time had passed by, some time had gone by, then again Shaitan would go to these people and he would say, you know what, now you're turning old, why don't you make their pictures? Why don't you draw their pictures? So, now don't worship. This is what he said to them. He said, draw their pictures, have them in their place in your house. Do not worship them. Do not worship them. Just have them in your house, and so that way you don't forget their image. So that way, look at the tricks of Shaitan. So that way you don't forget their image. So they said, there's nothing wrong with creating a picture. Might as well just create a picture. So they created pictures. Tasawwuf. Thereafter, he said, long story short, he said, pictures are not nothing. Pictures are not, they won't give you the reality. They won't give you the real picture. So why don't you make a sculpture? But even at this time, he said, don't worship them. Just make a sculpture, just give them hands, give them arms, whatever it may be, make a sculpture. After they made a sculpture. And then long story short, then again, so it started from whispers of Shaitan to pictures. From pictures to Tamathil. Tamathil means sculptures. From sculptures to Asnam. Thereafter, this is how idol worshipping started again. So now Nuh alayhi salam, after telling them, subhanAllah, Nuh alayhi salam, as we've mentioned this before, he called on to them for 950 years. SubhanAllah, just imagine 950 years, as we read in Surah Nuh, دَعَوْتُ قَوْمِ لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا. Day and night, Nuh alayhi salam used to call on to them. And not only this, subhanAllah, when Nuh alayhi salam, when he used to call people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he used to say, don't worship idols, he would be pelted with stones. People would throw stones at Nuh alayhi salam. Stones. Thereafter, now, just look at this. Thereafter, Nuh alayhi salam would faint. Nuh alayhi salam would faint. And then when he would regain his consciousness, then again he would go and call them. So people now, firstly he would call them, he would call people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People will pelt them with stones. Thereafter he would faint. When he would regain his consciousness, he would go back to them and he would ask Allah ta'ala, Ya Allah, forgive this nation. Ya Allah, forgive this nation. Ya Allah, forgive this nation. And then a time had come where, after knowing that these people will never believe, Nuh alayhi salam made a dua against his nation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because now after, just imagine, after Nuh alayhi salam, he called on to them, he called on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave them a message, and he delivered his message for 950 years. Now, and he said, if you don't follow the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be punished. A punishment will befall you. So they said, قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِدُنَا إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Nuh alayhi salam, it's been a long, قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا. This discussion is, it's prolonged. It's been a long discussion now. فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِدُنَا إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. So now, if you're truly a true prophet, if you're really a true prophet, then where is this punishment that you're talking about? Where is the punishment of Allah that you talk about? Bring this punishment. Then after, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then, O Musa, وأوحي إلى نوح, sorry, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Nuh alayhi salam, أنه لن يؤمن من قومك إلا من قد آمن فلا تبتئس بما كانوا يفعلون. So Nuh alayhi salam, of course, like all the prophets that had come, they had sympathy towards their nation because they feared the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, Musa alayhi salam, and as we read about this yesterday as well, how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to feel so bad for disbelievers for not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in a similar fashion, Nuh alayhi salam, he would feel very bad. He would feel bad that these people are not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people, why aren't they believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to console him, he said, those people who needed to believe, now they believe. Now, from now, don't worry what they do. وَاصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا وَوَحْيِنَا وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِنَّهُمْ مُغْرَقُونَ. Now this is also an indication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and this is the indication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Nuh alayhi salam, that now these people will be destroyed, and how will they be destroyed? They will be drowned. They will drown. So now the command was given to Nuh alayhi salam to construct a boat. And my dear respected brothers, this was the first boat that was ever constructed on the face of this earth. وَاصْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا وَوَحْيِنَا وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Now, what happened was, Jibreel alayhi salam had come, of course, because no one had seen a boat before this. Jibreel alayhi salam had come, and he told Nuh alayhi salam how to construct a boat, how to make a boat, because people had never seen this before. Nuh alayhi salam. So he taught him how to make a boat. Now, when people saw this, وَكُلَّمَا مَرَ عَلَيْهِ مَلَأٌ مِّن قَوْمِهِ سَخِرُوا مِنْهُ. Now, whenever people would go by, the front of Nuh alayhi salam and his people and the boat as well, for two reasons. Because they had never seen something like this. They were in a state of shock, in a state of awe. They said, what are you creating? We've never seen this. You know, are you constructing a house? What are you building? We've never seen this. And secondly, they used to say, we are afflicted with a drought. We are afflicted with, we have a drought right now. And you're talking about a flood. A flood is going to come. let alone a flood coming. We don't have enough water to drink. How can a flood come? And they used to make fun of Nuh alayhi salam. And they used to say, this boat that you're constructing, this boat will take you and it will come and all the details. So they said, why don't you take this boat ride in the desert? Are you going? Where is this boat going to go? What water are you talking about? What storm are you talking about? So Nuh alayhi salam said, فَسَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ, just don't worry. In the near future, you will find out what I'm talking about. And then, now, how big was this? How big was this boat? How big was this ship? It comes in the riwayah that it was nearly 300 meters in length. So in length, it was 300 meters. And it was, in width, it was nearly 50 meters. So 50 meters in width. 300 meters in length and 50 meters in width. In height, it was nearly 30 meters. 30 meters in height, 50 meters in width, and 300 meters in length. This was the size of the boat. Now, what the indication was, حتى إذا جاء أمرنا وثارت النور. Now, tanur is also known as the satah, the face of the earth, the satah, or the highest elevated place of the earth. That's what it's called. And another meaning of tanur means an oven. An oven. So now there are two different ulama are two opinions. So there are a few ulama that take the opinion of tanur being the face of the earth, and there are others who take tanur as being an oven. So the indication was where they used to cook food. They used to, if you've been to perhaps back home, or you go to restaurants, you see a tanur, an actual, and it's an in-ground oven. That's what a tanur is, an in-ground oven. So the indication was, Ya Nuh alayhi salam, when you see water gushing out of this oven, when you see water gushing out the oven, That is the indication that now a storm will come. Now a storm will come. Now you take your people, the people who believed in Musa alayhi salam. As you know, we read in Nuh alayhi salam, وَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. Now what is the number? It comes in the dua, only 80 people. Only 80 people believed in Nuh alayhi salam. Just imagine, Nuh alayhi salam calling on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 950 years. And how many people believed? How many people, how many people must have been present at that time? Only 80 people believed in a span of 950 years. After قل نحمل فيها من كل زوجين اثنين وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه القول ومن وما آمن معه إلا قليل. He was also instructed to take a pair. Now it comes in the riwayah, Mufassirin also say he did not take a pair of each and every single animal. He only took a pair of those animals that were that are more in need. So for example, a sheep, a cow. Now this is then again one qawl of Mufassirin. A few Mufassirin, they say Nuh alayhi salam did not take each and every single pair of animals. So for instance, a bat, a lion, or perhaps a butterfly, or whatever it may be. The scholars say he took the important animals, or those animals that are more in need. So for example, then again, a cow, the likes of a cow, a goat, a sheep, and etc. Now when the boat was going, now when the flood had come, and the only way of survival was through being on this, through this boat, being on this boat. So only those survived who were on this boat. Now Nuh alayhi salam, he felt that وَنَادَى نُوحُ ابْنَهُ وَكَانَ فِي مَعْزَلٍ يَا بُنِيَّ ارْكَبْ مَعَنَا وَلَا تَكُنْ مَعَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Now Nuh alayhi salam had 4 sons: Sam, Ham, Yafith, and Canaan. So these were his 4 sons: Sam, Ham. So now Sam, Ham, Yafith, they believed in Nuh alayhi salam. Now at this point, Nuh alayhi salam did not know that Canaan was a disbeliever. Now Canaan, his habit was that he used to be with disbelievers. But Nuh alayhi salam, he thought that my son, he only stays in that company, but he's not a disbeliever. But Nuh alayhi salam did not know. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his son was also a disbeliever. That's why he said, do not be of those who are disbelievers. قال سآوي إلى جبل يعصمني من الماء قال لا عاصم اليوم من أمر الله إلا من رحم وحال بينهما الموج فكان من المغرقين. Now just imagine, as Nuh alayhi salam is going. Now Nuh alayhi salam is going, he looks to his side and he sees a huge mountain. Now he sees his son there as well. Now Nuh alayhi salam is telling him and calling him, come inside, come in this boat. Do not be of those who are disbelievers. So at this point he said, Sa'awi ila jabalin ya'asimuni min al-ma'. I will climb the height of this mountain. Ya'asimuni min al-ma'. And this, by doing so, I will be saved from water. So Nuh alayhi salam, right away he responded, La 'asima al-yawma min amrillah. Today no one can be saved without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except for those whom He has mercy on. وَحَالَ بَيْنَهُمَا الْمَوْجِ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُغْرَقِينَ. Now in the midst of this, as they were talking, a wave had come and this wave had taken him away. And he became of those who passed away, who drowned. Now at this moment, وَقُضِ الْأَمْرُ وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِ, and the command was given that now you rest upon. Now, before we go, we have to move on to ayah number 44. And this, my dear respected brothers, we have to understand this is the most fasih ayah of the Quran, the most eloquent ayah of the Quran. وقيل يا أرض ابلعي ماءك ويا السماء أقلعي وغيض الماء وقضي الأمر واستوت على الجودي وقيل بعد للقوم الظالمين. After the water dried. Now, my dear respected brothers, before I move on before I give further details, it has been narrated that the sky, it became a minkhada. It was as if the sky had holes and water was just pouring down. Just imagine, the sky, minkhada in Arabic means a sieve. Now just imagine, my dear respected brothers, for instance, now let's say, you put a steam under a tap. And now you can only imagine how much water will actually come down, and how much water will it stop It doesn't stop much water. So they say, it has been said that the sky became a mankhra, became a sieve. There were many holes, many large amount of holes in the sky which were descending rain. Now, after the flood, Nuh alayhi salam made a dua. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save those who believe. Nothing will happen to those who believe. And this was the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, وَنَادَ نُوحٌ رَبَّهُ فَقَالَ رَبِّي إِنَّ ابْنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي وَإِنَّ وَعْدَكَ الْحَقِّ وَأَنْتَ أَحْكَمُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. Because Allah ta'ala told Nuh alayhi salam that I will save your family, I will save those who believe. So Nuh alayhi salam, he said, Ya Allah, my son Canaan, he was from my family. And indeed, Ya Allah, you've said the truth, so what is happening? So, قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك. إنه ليس من أهلك. He is not amongst your family. إنه عمل غير صالح. فلا تسألني ما ليس لك به. So, he's not part of your family, and do not ask me that, which regarding do not ask for those questions for which you have no knowledge. إني أعوذك أن تكون من الجاهلين. قال ربي إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكون من الخاسرين. And this was the dua that Nuh alayhi salam made. Now, moving on to the story of Hud alayhi salam. And sorry, one thing I missed. Nuh alayhi salam, he had 3 wives. One of the wives also stayed back. So he had 4 sons, Yafith, Ham, Sam, and Canaan. Canaan stayed back. He had 3 wives. One of the wives stayed back, whose name was Wa'ila. Wa'ila with an Ain, who also stayed back, and she did not believe. Now from here, from ayah number 50 all the way to 60, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of the nation of Ad, the qawm of Ad. وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إن أنتم إلا مفترون. Then again, my Jewish brothers, we did a few details of this in Surah Araf. Hud alayhi salam was sent to this nation. This nation was known for carving. As they were very strong, they were known for carving into mountains and making their houses. Their houses were out of mountains. They used to live in mountains. We can only imagine how powerful and how strong these people were. So then again, Hud alayhi salam would go to them, and he would tell them, do not worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was the nation that was present in in Syria, close to Hadramaut, nearly 2,000 years before the arrival of Isa alayhi salam. So 2,000 years they were present in Syria, 2,000 years prior to the arrival of Isa alayhi salam. But they did not listen, and as Mufassir have not given too many details. We've done the details, some of the details in Surah Araf, and there isn't much in Surah Hud as well. It gives brief details. Now, moving on to ayah number 61. Moving on to ayah number 61. وَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ وَأَنشَأَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُم فِيهَا فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ إِنَّ رَبِّي قَرِيبٌ مُجِيبٌ. Now then again, as we've covered some of their stories, some of the story in Surah Araf. And these people were also known as Ad Thani. These were the descendants of Ad. Now because a few people survived. Not survived, sorry, they were with Hud alayhi salam, who left with Hud alayhi salam. Now, similarly, these people were doing the same thing. They asked for miracles from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They said, if you claim to be a true prophet, we need to see a miracle. The reason why, and each and every single nation had the same reason why they were worshipping idols other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we found our forefathers do this, Just imagine, idolatry nearly started from after the time of Nuh alayhi salam. From all the way down. Now, just imagine, their forefathers, they were worshiping idols. So they would come up with the same answer. We only worship them because our forefathers had worshipped them. So they asked for a sign, and would split open. Thereafter, a camel would come out, a she camel. Now, so Nuh alayhi salam, Salih alayhi salam said to them, "Naqatullahi lakum ayah, fadharuha." Thereafter he said, this is the تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب قريب. Do not do anything to this camel. Now, two things were done. Well, I think after this they had to believe. Now, for those who even after seeing the miracle, just imagine a mountain splitting open. After a she camel would come out. Now, this was, of course, a special she camel, a special camel. So Nuh alayhi salam said as well, now this camel, do not do anything to it. This will eat from wherever it wants. It will eat from the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not do anything after this. So now their warning was, for those people who do not believe in this, now you are not believing, so now you have to do this. You cannot go near this camel. Don't go near this camel. Don't do anything to this camel. So they did not listen. فَعَقَرُوهَا, and they cut off the hooves of this camel, and they killed this camel. So it was said, فَقَالَتْ تَمَتَّعُوا فِي دَارِكُمْ ثَلَاثَ أَيَّامٍ ذَلِكَ وَعْدٌ غَيْرُ مَكْذُوبٍ. Now this was the punishment, as we mentioned as well. This was the punishment. Now what was their punishment? Now, after 3, and this was a warning, after 3 days the punishment would come. So it comes in a tafsir, this started on Thursday. This punishment started on Thursday. So on Thursday, their faces, they turned pale. On Friday, their faces turned red. On Saturday, their faces turned black. And on Sunday was the actual punishment. Now here, as we read on, وَأَخَذَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا الصَّيْحَةَ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. Now in Surah A'raf, we read Rajifa, which means an earthquake. In Surah A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about punishing them with an earthquake. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of punishing them with a sayha, with a loud noise. So now ulama say there's no, you don't have to worry. So you don't have to, there's no point of getting caught up in this discussion whether it was an earthquake or whether it was a loud noise. So ulama say, it was an earthquake at first. Thereafter they were punished with a sayha. Now this sayha, this was very severe. Now Mufassirin ulama also say this was the voice of Jibreel alayhi salam. This was the voice of Jibreel alayhi salam. Now, moving on to 69. آية number 69. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ بِالْبُشْرَى قَالُوا سَلَامًا قَالَ السَّلَامُ فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. Now, my dear respected brothers, here there are a few lessons I need to be taken as well. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ بِالْبُشْرَى. Now, angels had come to Ibrahim alayhi salam for 2 reasons, as we will find out. Okay, sorry, the most fasih verse of the Quran is 44. Ayah number 44. وَقِلَ يَا أَرْضُ ابْلَعِي مَاءَكِ وَيَا السَّمَاءُ أَقْلِعِي وَغِيضَ الماء وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى جُودِهِ وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. And inshallah, I'll mention a story later. Actually, I'll mention it right now. Once there was a person, I believe his name was Alqamah. May Allah forgive me, I forget his name. Who was a disbeliever at that time? Alqamah or Ikrama, I forget his name. So his friends were also disbelievers, so they had given him a challenge. Now, as we all know, at the time of Musa alayhi salam, magic and sorcery was very big, was really popular at that time. At the time of Isa alayhi salam, medicine was really popular. At the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, poetry was really famous and popular at that time. It was the vibe, the trend of that time. Now, the disbelievers said to, and this person, Al-Qamah, I forget his name, he was a very great poet, and he was known for his poetry. So his friends challenged him, and his friends said, why don't you come up with poetry and challenge this Quran? Challenge this Quran. So he said, you know what, give me 1 year. Give me 1 year, and I will come up with something, and I will defeat this Quran. Now, this is what he said. So they said, okay, we'll give you a year. Now, after 1 year of this, he had prepared something to challenge Quran. Now, as he was going to present it, because what people used to do in the back in those days, poetry, whenever they would write something, they would place it on Kaaba. They would hang it by Kaaba, or they would either hang it inside or outside, or only Allah knows best. Thereafter, people would look at it and they would read it. So this person intended to do the same thing. He came with his book. He came with his poetry. And now, as he was walking, he heard something. He heard Quran. He heard a small girl reciting the Quran, and this girl recited this ayah: وَقِيلَ يَا أَرْضُ ابْلَعِي مَعَكِ وَيَا السَّمَاءُ أَقْلِعِي وَغِيضَ الْمَاءُ وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِيِّ وَقِيلَ بُعْدًا لِلْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. Now, after hearing this, right away he went back. He ripped and tore his poetry, and he embraced Islam. Now, all his friends who were mushrikeen, who were disbelievers at that time, they said, "How can you do this? How what happened to you? You became a Muslim. How did this happen?" He said, "You people, you gave me a challenge. You gave me a task to defeat the Quran. You gave me a task to challenge the Quran, to challenge the entire Quran. The reality is, let alone challenge the Quran, let alone challenge one surah, I have been defeated by one ayah." SubhanAllah. By this one ayah. This ayah is known as, this is the most fasih ayah of the Quran. Now, if we read the translation, we might say, there's nothing, some people might say there's not much to this ayah, but subhanAllah, only Allah Ta'ala knows, and Mufassirin have written so much regarding this ayah. Once again, it is the most fasih ayah of the Quran. Ayah number 44. Now, going back to the story, وَجَاءَتْ رُسُولُنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ بِالْبُشْرَى قَالُوا السَّلَامَ قَالَ السَّلَامُ فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. Now, there are many lessons that, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to extract, and we can extract from this surah, from this ayah. First, angels went to Ibrahim alayhi salam. They went to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And now the lesson here is قَالُوا السَّلَامَ قَالَ السَّلَامُ. The lesson here for Muslims is, whenever you meet someone, you should greet them with salam. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, and this is giving the importance of salam, say salam to those who you know and say salam to those who you don't know. And another beautiful hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shall I tell you of an amal? If you were to do this, if you were to perform this, there will be love between you, one another. Sahaba said, of course, Ya Rasulullah, what is this? فَقَالْ أَفْشُ السَّلَامِ, spread salam, and there will be love and unity between you. Today, my dear respected brothers, today, the question, we might ask a question, there's not much unity in the Muslim Ummah. That is because, my dear respected brothers, we have left to say salam to one another. Even when we go to the masjid today, when we go outside today, we only say salam to those who we know. Today, how many people do we say salam to when we go to the masjid? Perhaps 10, perhaps 15. Only thing is we lose you. If we don't know them, we won't say salam to them. This is, my dear respected brothers, this is very sad. And not only, and a lot of times, our self-pride takes into, it springs into action. When we're at the Rasulullah, say salam to those who you know and say salam to those who you know. Now, each and every single person is included. Now, for instance, for a male, when he goes to the masjid, now when you see the youth there, now sometimes this person thinks, why should I say salam to them? Why should I say salam to the youth? They should come to me. They should say salam to me. I'm older than them. Now, this person is caught in this dispute, in this dilemma, and as a result, he doesn't say salam to them. So, my dear respected brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in a beautiful hadith, al-badilu bis-salam, a person who starts with salam. The first to say salam, bari'un min al-kibr. A person who's the first to say salam is free of pride, is free of arrogance. Regardless of it, if it's someone small, of course, the smaller should say salam to the elder, but This is a habit. This is a practice that we need to build. So this is one of the lessons. Qalu salaman salama qal salam. This is something that we have to learn. When we meet one another, we have to say salam. Now, who were these three angels who went to Ibrahim alayhi salam? Bil-bushra, were they glad tiding? Ulama Mufassirin, right? The first angel was Jibreel alayhi salam. The second angel was Mikael alayhi salam. The third, Israfil alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam, Mikael alayhi salam, and Israfil alayhi salam. These were three angels. Now, what was their purpose? The purpose of going to Ibrahim. Now, they went to Ibrahim alayhi salam. As you know, as we spoke about this as well, Lut alayhi salam was the nephew of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, they were not far away. So they went to Ibrahim alayhi salam to give him a glad tiding of Ishaq alayhi salam. Bil-bushra meaning the birth of Ishaq. And after this glad tiding, these angels were going to go and punish the nation of Lut alayhi salam, the qawm of Lut. Now, فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. Now, this, subhanAllah, Ibrahim alayhi salam was known for his hospitality. Whenever someone would come, he would feed him, no matter, regardless of what it was, regardless of what he had in his house. And it has been reported, Ibrahim alayhi salam, at the time of food, now let's say it was lunchtime or dinner time, he would look for people. SubhanAllah, this is my dear respectable, this is the hospitality of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He would look for people. At lunchtime, he would look for people. Whenever he would find someone walking by his house, a traveler perhaps, he would bring him inside and he would give him food and he would feed him. At nighttime, the same thing. He would go and look and he would give him food. Now, there are three lessons that need to be taken into consideration. Three lessons that we have to take and we have to adapt. فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. So not فَمَا لَبِثَ. A very short time passed. And جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. Thereafter he came with a roasted calf. That we need to take is, and as ulama say, the first is whenever you have a guest at your place, whenever you have a guest coming to your place, or whenever you invite a guest, offer something right away. This is the first lesson. You offer something right away. So now, my dear respected brothers, a lot of times, what happens, when you're invited to a place for dinner, now, sometimes they take, now sometimes, although they have prepared the food, but it takes about 2-4 hours. As I must say, this is something that should not be done. This was the sunnah of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So whenever someone would pass by, right away Ibrahim alayhi salam would offer him food. So this is something that we have to do. Number 2, offer whatever is accessible. First, you have to offer something right away. Try offering something right away. So whenever someone comes to your house, right away give him something. Right away, feed him. Don't let him sit there. Don't let him sit still. Right away, feed him. Number 2, whatever is accessible, whatever is available at that time. Meaning, if you have one, let's say a person does not have anything, the least he should do is, as soon as the person comes in, he should give him some water. Right away, offer him some water, give it to him. If you have dates in your house, give him dates. You have juice in your house, give him juice. Whatever you have in your house, offer him whatever is accessible. Now, a lot of times what happens is, when the guest comes, people say, let me make kebabs for you, let me do this for you. And while this takes a long time. Sometimes it takes nearly an hour, it takes 30 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not saying, this is something that should not be done. Now, if you want to cook food for them, that's okay, but you should have some sort of appetizers, right? Give something to the guest right away, whatever is accessible. Now, the third is, ulama say, and this is what people might ask as well, to host someone. Is it wajib? To host someone, is it compulsory? Is it mandatory? Now, ulama and mufassirin say to host someone is not wajib. To attend a da'wah, then again, to host is not wajib. To attend, it is sunnah. To host someone. To attend a da'wah, it is wajib. A person should not leave this da'wah unless he has a genuine excuse. Otherwise, he should try, if a person has been called to a da'wah, he should go right. He should respond and he should go right away. فلما رأى أيديهم لا تصل إليه نكرهم وأوجس منهم خيفة. Now what happened was at that time, because these were angels, we have to understand. So Ibrahim at this moment, he did not know because they came in the form of humans. They came in the form of humans. So Ibrahim right away, he prepared a calf and he offered them, and he offered it to them, and he said, Bismillah, and start with the name of Allah. Now, in those days, my dear respected brothers, if the host did not eat, if the host did not extend his arm towards the food, that meant that, he is your enemy. That meant he is your enemy, and he has come here to afflict you with pain, or to cause you some harm. So so Ibrahim saw their hands. Their hands were not going towards the food. So Ibrahim felt scared. He said, who are these people? I don't know this. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what they want from me. So So the angel said, Do not be afraid. Yeah, Ibrahim, we have been sent towards the nation of Lut, and we have come to you to give you the glad tidings of Ishaq alayhi salam. To give you the glad tidings of Ishaq alayhi salam. Now, my dear respected brothers, now one story of how this hospitality actually started, where how this is also the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he would look for people and he would invite them to his house. On one occasion, he called a person. He called a person and he said, eat food with me. He said, Kul Bismillah, say in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thereafter start eating. So this person said, who is Allah ta'ala? Man Allah, who was Allah ta'ala? So right away Musa alayhi salam, right away Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, you don't know who Allah is? And now he asked him to leave. This person left. SubhanAllah. Now this person is leaving. Right away Jibreel alayhi salam comes. He said, Ya Ibrahim, Allah ta'ala is saying, have you withdrawn from this person? Have you withdrawn from this person because of his kufr? Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him food each and every for his life. Allah ta'ala has given him food. A person who does not even believe in Allah ta'ala, even this person, Allah ta'ala gives him food. So how can you withdraw from a person? How can you withdraw from this person? Thereafter, Ibrahim right away, and he started looking for this person. Now this person said, now, why are you telling me to come back to your house? You asked me to leave. Now why do you want me to come back? So then Ibrahim said the story that this had happened. Thereafter, this person embraced Islam. He embraced the religion of Ibrahim. Now, after he was given the now this is ayah number 74. فلما ذهب عن إبراهيم الروح وجاءته البشرى يجادلنا في قوم لوط. Now when Ibrahim when this fear had left his heart, and when he received the glad tidings of his son, of Ishaq alayhi salam, يجادلنا في قوم لوط, because these angels had told Ibrahim that now our job is done, now we will go and now we will head towards the Qawm of Lut and we will punish them. Right away, and subhanAllah, look at the affection of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Look at the love of Ibrahim alayhi salam. يجادلنا في قوم لوط. He started arguing when he said, no, don't go there. Allah Ta'ala, give them more time. Allah Ta'ala will forgive them. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Ibrahim lahalimun awwahum munib. Indeed, Ibrahim alayhi salam had a soft heart. He was soft-hearted. So right away, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he started making dua to Allah. Ya Allah, don't punish them. Ya Allah, don't punish them. Ya Allah, give them another chance. Ya Allah, give the nation of Lut another chance. Because Ibrahim alayhi salam had a soft heart. He knew the severity of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Ibrahim, a'rid an hada. Ya Ibrahim, stop asking me. Don't ask me, stop requesting me that I to not punish them. إِنَّهُ قَدْ جَاءَ أَمْرُ رَبِّكَ. Indeed, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come now. Now the punishment cannot be uplifted. The punishment cannot be uplifted. وَإِنَّهُمْ آتِيهِمْ عَذَابٌ غَيْرُ مَرْدُودٌ. Now a punishment will befall them. Now moving on to the story of Lut alayhi salam. وَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا لُوطًا سِيءَ بِهِمْ وَضَاقَ بِهِمْ ذَرْعًا وَقَالَ هَذَا يَوْمٌ عَصِيبٌ. Now, moving on to the story of Lut alayhi salam. Now these angels, they went to Lut alayhi salam. Now upon seeing them in the beginning, he was happy. He said, Alhamdulillah, guests have come to my city. But after knowing the condition of and the state of their people, he felt very sad. سيء بهم وضاق بهم ضرعوا وقال هذا يوم عصيب. Now, my dear respected brothers, what happened was these people, I will not go into the details of their activities. What we have to understand is that they were attracted to the opposite gender. They were involved in immoral and immodest activities. So now these angels that had come to Lut alayhi salam, they were very handsome. Now after seeing them, Lut alayhi salam felt very scared. And he said, you know, my nation will not leave you. They'll come after you. They will go after you. So وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ يُهْرَعُونَ إِلَيْهِ وَمِنْ قَبْلُ كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. Thereafter, now what happened was the wife of Lut alayhi salam was not a believer. She was amongst those who were engaged in immoral activities. She was amongst their group. So right away, after seeing these angels, she said, you know, these angels are very handsome, and she knew the state of their people of that nation. Right away, she went and she told people that, you know, Lut alayhi salam has these 3 men at his house who are very beautiful. So now people, they surrounded the house of Lut alayhi salam. They surrounded the house of Lut alayhi salam. So upon this occasion, Lut alayhi salam said, لو أن لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد. If only I had power to, you know, I would defend you. If only I had power, I would go against my people. And at this moment, the angel said, قالوا يا لوط إنا رسل ربك لن يصلوا إليك فأسر بأهلك بقطع من الليل ولا يلتفت منكم أحد إلا امرأتك إنه مصيبها ما أصابه. Now, what happened? They said to Lut alayhi salam, Ya Lut, now do not be worried. These people, indeed we are messengers. Indeed we are angels from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have been sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people cannot harm you. And let alone, you know, these people will not harm you, and these people will not harm us. They cannot do anything to us. So, فَأَسْرِ بِيَهْلِكَ بِقِطْعٍ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ وَلَا يَلْتَفِتْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا امْرَأَتَكَ إِنَّهُ مُصِيبُهَا مَا أَصَابَهُمْ. Now he was given that you, along with your family, as you know, أهلك, means the believers. Those who believe also means family. You, along with the people, along with you leave during the darkness of the night, the middle of the night, and do not look back. Do not look back. Now everyone leave but your wife. إِنَّ مَوْعِدَهُمُ الصُّبْحِ. As soon as morning time comes, as soon as morning is up, they will be punished. أَلَيْسَ الصُّبْحُ بِقَرِيبٍ. And this morning is not too far away. So, فَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا جَعَلْنَا عَالِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهَا حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ مَّنضُودٍ مُّسَوَّمَةً عِندَ رَبِّكَ وَمَا هِيَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ بِبَعِيدٍ. Now, my dear respected brothers, it comes in one riwayah as well, only Allah Ta'ala knows best. The wife also left with Lut alayhi salam. What happened was she looked back, as this was the order, this was the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا يَلْتَفِتْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٍ. That even when you are leaving this place, do not look back. Do not look back. So it comes in one narration as well. The wife, the name of this wife was either Buja or Bauja. Allah Ta'ala knows best. Either Buja or Bauja. So this, now she looked back. Once she looked back at the punishment, one of the rocks hit her. As you know, أَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهَا حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. One of the rocks hit her, and she also passed away. She also died. As for the punishment, they were, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He rained rocks and stones on them. And Jibreel alayhi salam, he took his wing. He took his wing and he grabbed this nation, this piece of land, and he lifted it towards the heavens. Now, as I mentioned earlier, now they were lifted in such a way that it comes in the riwayah that when these people were lifted, the water that was in their bowl, or the water that was in their utensil, this water did not even stir. This water did not even move. This was how Jibreel lifted them. They were lifted up towards the heaven. Now it comes in a narration, حَتَّى سَمِعَ أَهْلُ السَّمَاءِ نُبَاحَ كِلَابِهِمْ, until they were raised so high until the angels heard the barking of their dogs. Not only did they hear the barking of their dogs, they also heard the cry, the noise of their rooster. Thereafter they were flipped, turned, and brought down. مُسَوَّمَةً عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ وَمَا هِيَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ بِبَعِيدٍ. Now this was a place near the Dead Sea. Now ulama say, وَمَا هِيَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ بِبَعِيدٍ. This is referring to the kuffar of Mecca, or the disbelievers at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When they would travel, they were able to see these ruins. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were able to see the ruins, as I mentioned earlier, of Thamud. They were able to see these ruins. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, take a lesson from this. Now moving on to the story of Shu'aib alayhi salam. وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا. Shu'aib alayhi salam was sent to the nation of, to a place by Madian. And like all the other nations, these people were disbelieving. They were disbelievers. They did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only this, وَلَا تَنْقُصُ الْمِكْيَالَ وَالْمِيزَانَ. Now these people, they would also make some changes in scale and weight. Sometimes they would make it less, sometimes they would make it more. They would fluctuate, their scales would fluctuate. They would mess around with this. وَيَا قَوْمِ أَوْفُوا الْمِكْيَالَ وَالْمِيزَانَ بِالْقِسْطِ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ وَلَا تَعْثُوا بِالْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ. Not only this, but these people, they would wait outside, or they would wait at a place. Whenever they would see a traveler, they would take away everything. They were basically, you can say, highway robbers. They were highway robbers, as the Quran says, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُم. Do not take people's things. Do not take their things. So now, at this time, now as we know, Salah was still present. So to mock Shu'aib, to make fun of him, they said, قَالُوا يَا Shu'aib. And they used to, different nations, they would offer nafil salah as well, and they were also ordered to offer nafil salah as well, as their prophets did. قال يا شعيب أصلاتك تأمرك أن نترك ما يعبد آباؤنا. This is ayah number 87. يا شعيب أصلاتك تأمرك أن نترك ما يعبد آباؤنا أو أن نفعل في أموالنا ما نشاء إنك لأنت الحليم الرشيد. Now, to mock the Shu'aib alayhi salam, they would say, Ya Shu'aib, does your salah, the salah that you pray, the nafil that you pray, does this salah inspire you? Does it command you to tell us to stop doing what we're doing? Does your salah tell us to stop worshiping idols? Is your salah inspiring you? إِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ الْحَلِيمُ الرَّشِيدُ. How can this be? How can you say such things? How can you tell us not to worship idols? How can you tell us not to do, not to mess around with our wealth, not to mess around with mikyal and mizan? How can you do this? Indeed, you are a smart person. This does not befit you. Look at their response. This is what they said. So now, in response to this, Shu'aib alayhi salam said, "In uridu illa al-islah mastata'tu." I only wish for your betterment. I only wish for you to be better. I only wish for you to be. I only wish for your correction. So now after this, they said, "Ya Shu'aib, ma nafqahu kathiran mimma tut." Ya Shu'aib, ma nafqahu kathiran. We, whatever you are saying, we know it is going above our heads. We are not able to understand what you're saying. وَإِنَّا لَنَرَاكَ فِينَا ضَعِيفًا. You are very weak amongst us. Very weak meaning you're less in number. وَلَوْلَا رَحْتُكَ لَرَجَمْنَاكَ. Had it not been for your family, had it not been for your brothers, had it not been for your close relatives, we would have pelted you. In other words, we would have killed you. Now, this was, my dear respected brothers, the nation of Shu'aib alayhi salam. They did not listen, and as a result, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them. How did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish them? They were also afflicted with a sayha, a loud noise. And ulama and mufassirin also say this sayha is referring to as it was the noise of Jibreel alayhi salam, the voice of Jibreel alayhi salam. Now, my dear respected brothers, coming to this ayah, last but not least, ayah number 102. وكذلك أخذ ربك إذا أخذ القرى وهي ظالمة إن أخذه أليم شديد. Here, my dear spiritual brothers, that again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of His power and speaks of His capabilities. As He says, just like this, Allah ta'ala is showing people that it is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides to punish a nation, nothing can scare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your strength cannot scare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your number cannot scare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your knowledge cannot scare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just like this is the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes a nation. When this punishment, when this nation is, when they are oppressors, when they don't believe, when they transgress. And truly when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grabs a nation, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides to destroy a nation, indeed His punishment is severe. So my dear respected brothers and sisters, this is something that we have to understand today. Today, my dear respected brothers, this is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, that we are from the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, as we know, the punishment of the people who have, as we read in Surah Bani Israel, whenever now, if they had done something bad, and now as we know, what they had done, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transformed them into monkeys after they died. Now, as we read in the story of Isa alayhi salam, those who transgressed, those who stored some food from the ma'idah, from the tablecloth, what does Allah ta'ala do? Allah ta'ala transformed their faces into donkeys and swines, into pigs. As you respect your brothers and sisters, and this is the biggest blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us. He has given us iman. Not only has He given us iman, He has made us amongst the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We are from the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and this is something, this punishment of transformation is something that will not befall the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the question is, today people, when they are involved in evil, when they are involved in sin, they think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'udhu billah, is ghafil. Allah ta'ala is heedless. Allah ta'ala is not aware. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this clear. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Do not think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unaware. So now the question may be, why doesn't Allah ta'ala punish us? Because, my dear respected brothers, we are not in Darul Hisab right now. We have to understand, for example, when you are writing your test, your teacher does not mark your test right away. The results are given after. Right now, we are doing our test. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. We're just writing this test. Allah Ta'ala has given us time. He has given us a pen. He has given us everything. Now, in this life, we are doing our test. How are we doing this test? Through our a'mal, through our actions. So, my dear respected brothers and sisters, this is something that we have to think. If we are engaged in evil today, if we are engaged in something bad today, we have to stop right away. Just because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has uplifted the punishment of transformation, this does not mean, or Allah ta'ala has lifted up severe punishment. This was also the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The severe punishment, the punishment like being pelted with stones, and all these severe punishments. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done us a favor, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has uplifted all these punishments from us, this is, my dear respected brothers, something that we should not take advantage of. In return, we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah ta'ala says as well in the Quran ayah, in shakartum la'azidannakum. If you are grateful, I will only increase for you. وَلَئِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. But on the other hand, if you are ungrateful, إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. Beware that my punishment is severe. So, my dear respected brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a true understanding of this and a deeper meaning of this. Now, Ameen as well. Now, moving on and coming to our hadith of the day. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, a person does not make this dua. A person, or in other words, a person who makes this dua, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. The dua of, which prophet made this dua? Does anyone know? La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Yunus alayhi salam, yes. Alhamdulillah. Yunus alayhi salam made this dua. And how long was he in the stomach of the whale? Just testing, your knowledge from yesterday. How long did he stay in the stomach of the whale? For how many days? Was it 30 days or? Yes, 40 days. Alhamdulillah. And the day Yunus alayhi salam's nation was freed from the punishment was the day of blank. Which day was this? Does anyone know? Was it the 9th or the... Yes, it has been narrated, the 10th of Ashura. But only Allah Ta'ala knows best. Yes, that's correct. The 10th of Ashura. But then again, only Allah Ta'ala knows best. The 10th of Ashura. Nevertheless, coming back to our hadith, Rasulullah has said, a Muslim does not make this dua, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Once again, a Muslim does not make this dua, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to this. Except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to this. Now after this, whenever a person who makes a dua after saying these words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts his dua. So my dear respected brothers, now as we know, the time of iftar is the time when du'as are accepted. There are a few times, my dear respected brothers, I will inshallah tell you, when du'as are accepted, when du'as are like really, really accepted. The time of iftar, number one. Number two, the time between adhan and iqamah. The time between adhan and iqamah. Number three, the time between the two khutbahs on Yawm al-Jum'ah. The time between two khutbahs on Yawm al-Jum'ah. So these are the 3 times when du'as are accepted. When du'as are accepted. My dear respected brothers, now, honestly, the purpose of this, of course, I'm doing this for Sadaqah Jariyah as well, but the purpose of, saying all these du'as, the purpose of, mentioning all these du'as is so we can actually make them. Now, my dear respected brothers, one thing we have to understand, today when we have our Quran open, and when we leave our Quran on the shelf, this Quran, I tell you, it will not give us any benefit until and unless we actually open the Quran and read the Quran ourselves. Similarly, we can have these du'as written down in our notebooks. We can buy the most expensive of books. We can perhaps go to Staples or go wherever we want, buy a $20 book and write these du'as inside. But my dear respected brothers, we have to understand, as long as we don't read these du'as, until we don't read these du'as will not have an impact. These du'as will not have an impact. They will not come into effect. So then again, once again, we have to make these du'as. At the time of iftar, it's sad to say, many of us, instead of making du'as, we are engaged in talking. And we are engaged in talking. Not only are we engaged in talk, we are, we tend to look around. We tend to, just look at the food, because right as the iftar time will come in, or the maghrib time will come in, we would just devour the food. Whether you're eating samosas or whatever you're eating, right away, our eyes are focused, laser focused on the food. We are not focused on our du'as. And it's sad to say, our eyes are focused on food, on milk, on dates, or whatever it may be. But our eyes, we as Muslims today, we are not focused on our du'as. even and such as some people, even when they make du'a today, now, although they're making dua, sometimes they may be licking their lips. They're sometimes hopefully it doesn't happen. They're not drooling just by looking at the food. But my dear respect, but for a minute, let's close our eyes. Let's look down a little, or let's look somewhere else. Let's not look at the food, because if we look at the food in our account, this will have an impact on our concentration. What we can do is perhaps look away, or close our eyes and make a dua, make a sincere dua. Now, my dear respected, one last thing I would like to ask and I would like to mention is today when you go to a king, and this is a true hadith that I would say later on. Today when you go to a person or when you go to a king, not only this, even a child, how much love does a mother have for her child? A lot of love. A child that goes to the mother and he asks for something. The first time the mother will give. The second time the mother will give. Third, fourth, since she's the mother, she will give. 10th time, 11th time, 12th. A time will come, my dear respected brothers, eventually she will become fed up and she will say, sorry, I cannot give it to you. I will give it to you, but not today. I may give it to you, some other day. Nevertheless, she will become angry. Or in another example, a better example, let's say you go to someone, and you ask him for money. The first day you ask him for money. Or let's say you go to a king. You go to a king today, you ask him for money. You ask him for some treasure. Oh, I'm really poor. I need some treasure. The first day he will give it to you. Third day he will give it to you. Fourth day he will give it to you. Fifth day he will give it to you. The sixth or the seventh day perhaps he would say, what, I'm going bankrupt. Go somewhere else. Go to a different king. Go somewhere else. My respected brothers, a person who does not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know what happens? In return, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes angry at him. O person, why are you not asking me? Why are you not asking me? So my dear respected brothers, we have to ask Allah Ta'ala, we have to turn to Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala is the one who will solve all our problems. And in another beautiful hadith, this is mainly pertaining to the time of iftar, because now we are in the month of Ramadan, and as we know, no one has this guarantee that they will see next Ramadan. Let alone see next Ramadan, no one has this guarantee that they will see the next minute. So we have to maximize our Ramadan. Now, my dear respected brothers, this then again, it's related and it's linked with making dua at iftar time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shy that a person, his slave raises his hand. Now, Allah ta'ala is shy. Before the slave puts his hands down, he is left empty-handed. Before the slave puts his hands down, he is left empty-handed. Allah ta'ala is shy of this. So, my dear respected brothers, we have to solve our problems through Allah Ta'ala. We have to solve our problems through Allah Ta'ala. We have to, if we are in need of something today, whatever it may be, whether it's a financial difficulty, whether you have a domestic problem, whatever your problem may be, we have to understand there's only one route. And this route is through Allah Ta'ala. We have to have this connection with Allah Ta'ala. Because our connection with our Facebook, our WhatsApp is stronger than the connection we have with Allah Ta'ala. And this is something, my dear respected brothers, each and every single person can attest to. This is happening today. The youth today, their connection with sports, their connection with their friends closer than their connection with Allah Ta'ala. So, my dear respected brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a deeper understanding of this. Now, last but not least, moving on to our dua of the day. Now, this is I will say the plate of this durood as well. This is known as Salatun Tunajjina. Now, before I move on, is there anyone who knows this? Salatun Tunajjina? It's known as Salat Tunajjina. Okay, no problem. This is actually longer than the other. Okay, no problem. So, Salatun Tunajjina. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بالسيئات وترفعنا بها عند أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات إنك على كل شيء. Now, my dear respected brothers, is done. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not able to write it. It's quite long. It will take me some time. Yes, it's quite long, so honestly, it will take me some time. Yes, all you have to do is go on Tunajin. Honestly, it's transliteration, so it doesn't really matter. You can do Tunaina. It doesn't really matter because it's not in English. It's in Arabic. It's transliteration. So all you have to do is type in Salah tunajina or Salatun tunajina, Salatan tunajina. It doesn't really matter. Salatun tunajina. Now you have to understand. It starts off with this: Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad salatan tunajina. صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى درجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة